Welcome back, Nerd Boxers, to another episode of the Popcorn Confessional News. And on this episode, we are talking about Scream 6, revealing its first new cast member. Friday the 13th, Jason is set to return to exact his revenge on the Jarvis family. Stephen King reveals his plans for the future of Pennywise. And Nope, the movie, reveals what's been in the sky in the previous trailer. Hey, before we jump into the news, make sure you
like, subscribe, and share.
Right, because the most important thing is to help us continue to expand our channel, and that's through likes. And it helps us shine the spotlight on some independent filmmakers, our own stuff that we have going on here as well. So before we jump into the news, definitely want to hear what your thoughts are on the casting of Scream 6.
Dermot Mulroney has joined the Scream sequel, joining Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera, Mason Gooding, and Jasmine Savoy Brown, as well as Hayden Panettiere, who is reprising her role of Kirby Reed. Mulroney, who has recently appeared in horror films including Insidious Chapter 3 and Uma, is said to be playing a cop. That fits. Now, as we know, Part 6 is rumored to take place in a college setting, and there are rumors swirling around two key castings, so take this with a grain of salt. They could just be trying to throw us off. Leslie Macher is said to be played by Rose Byrne, and Andrea Navedo is playing Christine Carpenter.
So, what do you think about this casting?
I like Dermot Mulroney, depending on his character. I think that he plays all of his characters really well, but some of his characters just suck. So, I guess it is what it is. It depends. Now, I'm hoping that this one will go just fine because, as we know, it's the same writers that did Scream 5, and I really feel like they did an excellent job, and they kept in line with what Wes Craven would have wanted. So, hopefully, they write a good script for Dermot.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that I see on screen, and it's like, oh, it's that guy. Okay.
He probably doesn't know his name off the top of his head.
Oh, I never know his name.
And I know he can't say it because it is a difficult name. His name aggravates me.
He's just, like, you see his face, it's like, oh, it's that guy, and then it's like, oh, okay. Because he's not really memorable in any of the parts that he does.
He's done a lot of TV, like, movies, and then, like, he'll be in, some of the bigger shows, like, he'll be cast for, like, a few episodes or whatever. So, I've been watching him on TV since I was a teenager. So, that's, for me, he stands out a little more.
Now, I don't know the one actress who's rumored to play Christina Carpenter. I know she does a lot of TV stuff.
Yeah, the name doesn't ring a bell. If I saw her picture, maybe I've seen her in something. Could have been Law & Order SVU.
Mm-hmm. And as disappointing as it is for a lot of fans, seeing that it would be somebody that was probably in the background of the first film or in other films, the directors have come out and said that it'll be a new person playing this part, so she seems to fit the bill. But there is a big fan theory out there on our channel that Sid is Sam's mom and that she gave her up for adoption. The timeline works. If you think about the college years from 2 and where Scream 1 was, there is a gap of a few years there. So
and remember, in that final scene, Sid did break the rules. She gave it up. So
Rose Byrne, I'm excited for her. She's done some good horror movies and some good comedies and dramas. She's good all around.
Yeah, she is. And that's a name that obviously we know. We recognize, as will a lot of our viewers.
And I definitely can't see them offing Stu's nephew and Leslie Macher's son without having any repercussions. So there's a good chance that maybe even she could be the killer.
Could be. Look, Billy Loomis's mom came back for revenge, right? So
I hope they don't go that route. And
I hope they don't.
Maybe it's a red herring. What do you think? Is she the potential killer? Let's get a little off the formula a little bit.
Yeah, don't just repeat it. Like, don't, because now, and it makes sense, right? They're at the college, which is where they were when Billy Loomis's mom came. So I really hope that if it's true and she's coming in to play Leslie Macher, I'm fine with that, but don't take it that way.
Yeah, that should be opening kill.
It's Future. As we learned earlier this year, HBO Max is bringing back Pennywise in a series exploring his origin in Welcome to Derry, which takes place in the 60s and directly ties into It Part 1. Stephen King joined Bloody Disgusting's The Losers Club podcast to discuss his involvement with Pennywise and It going forward. He said, "I have no intention of going back to It. It's in the hands of the people who are doing this. Andy and Barbara Muschietti, who are going to do Welcome to Derry, they're talking about it anyway. And they've got some sort of a handshake deal, I think, with HBO Max." King continues by saying it's an interesting possibility to do that. They talked about a prequel, which struck me as an okay idea. I'd love to see what Pennywise was up to 27 years before the 50s, or I guess it would be the 80s because they updated the setting. So it would be, before World War II or something. It'll be interesting to see what will happen with that. And there is a link to the podcast discussion with Stephen King at the bottom.
That doesn't surprise me. He's written the book. He's not going to come back to it.
When he writes his books and that's the end of it and then it becomes like a made-for-TV movie, that's it. He doesn't go on to do anything more. That's just...
From those comments, I haven't listened to the podcast. He doesn't sound too excited about the prequel.
No, he said that he thought that was an okay idea, so I don't know. But, I mean, I kind of... I'm interested in seeing, the Welcome to Derry thing and see maybe what his, backstory was. I don't know that I would actually... I don't even know if it will have staying power, to be honest.
But for me here's what I think, right? You've seen the... I haven't read the book. You read the book, right? You've seen the original movie, which was subpar to this one. And I know it probably pissed a lot of people off on that one. But... what are we going to see in the prequel series, right? Is it going to be the clown prequel, or is it the person, it itself?
Yeah.
Right? It's a light, and it has many different forms that it takes. So I don't know if I'm too excited about the prequel of it. Sure, I would like to see Pennywise back, but that really kind of starts to change the concept of the story around. No. Go ahead.
I don't know. And I don't know that there needs to be, a before story. I mean, you kind of got that a little bit in the movie where they show the pictures and how he's been there. He's been there in the background kind of all along. And they did show him as, a normal person in the pictures. So I don't know what they can really do with the backstory to make it an actual series and keep people coming back.
Yeah, does he get possessed?
Yeah.
With the light that comes down?
I don't even know that I care to know that.
Yeah.
I like the movies, and that's kind of, okay, that's good enough for me. I don't really need to know the backstory, I guess, of, every serial killer or movie serial killer. I mean, it's nice to have some backstory, like Freddy's. It's short and sweet and to the point, and Jason's, what happened with him, and do you need a whole series on it, though?
Feels like a cash grab to me.
Yeah.
So I guess depending on what we start seeing in the trailers, that'll see if it piques our interest or not, and maybe we'll check it out. Are you excited for Welcome to Derry? And are you really surprised that Stephen King's like, yeah, I'm done with Pennywise?
I'm not surprised by that. I think, for him, like I said, his books and then his, it goes to TV usually as a mini series and then he's done. He doesn't need to go on. Nope. During the NBA Finals, a new trailer for Jordan Peele's latest film, Nope, dropped, revealing a UFO in 3 different spots of the trailer. Nope is about caretakers at a California horse ranch encountering a mysterious force that affects human and animal behavior. Nope features Keke Palmer, Daniel Kaluuya, Keith David, and Steven Yeun.
Now, the spaceship in it looks like a flying saucer from Earth versus the Flying Saucer. So it's nice. Again, it's Jordan Peele going back into history, probably looking at his influences and pulling that into his movies.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's nice to see them kind of taking stories that were out there in the past and just bringing it into the forefront once again. I wouldn't say that he should be credited with elevator horror, because you can go back to Alfred Hitchcock and almost anything that rolled out in the Twilight Zone, and you'll find elevator horror there. It's always been there.
Yeah.
But I'm not fully on the bandwagon of Jordan Peele. If you are, drop it in the comments. Let us know why. For me, I kind of feel like it's M. Night Shyamalan all over again. Hollywood's like, oh, let me clutch on to him because he put out an amazing movie in Get Out, and then he followed us up with Us, which was, I think, subpar to Get Out. And now we're going into an Alien movie, which, if you really think about it, M. Night Shyamalan's third film after his breakout film was about aliens.
Yeah.
And science, so.
Yeah. And while I really liked Get Out, I thought that was a really good movie. I agree that Us was subpar compared to it. Not that it was a terrible movie. And if it was on TV and there was nothing else to watch, I'd leave it on.
It was Invasion of the Body Snatchers without
but I don't think that it's anything to, like, write home about, and not something that I'm, like, ready to, like, just go and be like, yeah, let's put this on and, like, watch this. Like I said, if it's on and there's nothing else, I'll leave it. Maybe if I'm doing something else, I'll leave it on. But, you know, Get Out, I would actually go back to watch. We have. I mean, that's kind of, like, one of the things we do watch with the girls, I think, every, you know, horror season. So... But not, and I'm kind of with Nope.
I think what it is I don't need to see the twist all the time. And that's, so we had 2 twists in this first 2 films. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going in and expecting another twist. And that's just a bad formula to get into, because then everybody's going to start to expect it, and they're going to look for it and try to figure it out throughout the entire film rather than concentrating on the film. And I think, like it's done to M. Night's, it's spoiled almost all of his films, because he always has to throw that twist in there. Yeah. And they're usually stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my favorite twist for M. Night would have to be The Visit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, that's my favorite twist. Though I did figure it out a little early.
I think he's trying to bring her back.
Bring who back?
His wife, Jason's mother. And he needs all of us to do it.
Jason returns. While Friday the 13th remains in copyright hell, and keeping up with who owns what and what they can release is a video unto itself. Jason Voorhees has been thriving on the indie scene and bringing back franchise alumni in the process. In 2019, we saw the fan film Vengeance Bloodlines drop on YouTube, featuring CJ Graham, returning as Elias Voorhees, and Steve Dash as a sheriff in a campy, fun entry into the Friday the 13th universe. Vengeance Bloodlines Part 2 is in post-production, and it looks amazing. Vengeance 2 sees the return of Elias Voorhees and plans for his undead son, Jason Voorhees, to end the Jarvis family once and for all. Jason Brooks, who has donned the famous hockey mask in the first part, is directing. CJ Graham is reprising his role as Elias. Rob Mello, the babyface killer in Happy Death Day, also stars. And fan favorite Tamara Glynn from Halloween 5 is in this, just to name a few. We also see Steve Dash's grandson.
Yeah, and you can contribute to this film by jumping over to the Indiegogo campaign, and that link will be in the description below. Despite all the legal stuff that you mentioned at the top of this segment here, yeah, it kind of sucks for fans that they've have this iconic character that people really want to see, and I still don't get why they favor Freddy Krueger, but they want to see him, and now you have a bunch of greedy people fighting over the rights for this, right? And how that may play out, it may play out where somebody has the rights to Pamela Voorhees and young Jason Voorhees, then there's somebody's going to have rights over the hockey mask Jason Voorhees, and you just may have a mess like Warner Brothers where you'll have multiple films coming out at some point where you know there's a prequel and there's a continuation and it's just an absolute nightmare. So to combat all of that, there's been the fan films that have been out there, and it just expands the universe of Friday the 13th, which has been great.
And it gives fans what they want, right? I mean, they get to have a little bit of the Jason, you know, they kind of get their fill. You know, it fills a void, I guess, for a little bit. And most of them have been really, really good. And they're a decent length. I mean, some of them have been as long as an hour and a half, which is pretty normal
standard,
yeah, it's pretty standard as it goes for horror movies. So, you know.
And they're free, right? So
Yeah.
here's the big thing with these independent films like Vengeance Part 2 is you have upcoming filmmakers that respect, that truly respect what that film and that character was.
Yeah.
So they're putting their passion in it. They're not doing a cash grab. They're not being greedy. They're raising up money to create these films. And then you have people from the original movies that see that and like, hey, I want to be a part of that because I was a part of it before.
Like CJ Graham.
Yes. So this one is definitely one to check out. The trailer is shows that there's going to be a lot of gore with this one, so it's definitely worth checking out.
I mean, obviously, we're gonna watch it because we watched like pretty much all of them. I'm not in with the gore that they're putting into this one. To me, it just doesn't make any sense, and it's over the top. Once you see the trailer, let me know. I mean, maybe I'm just being a sissy, but it's not that I can't watch it. I can watch it. I've seen worse. It just doesn't make sense for Jason to do that.
Well, you got to up the game a little bit, make it a little
I don't
bit
think
different.
you need to, because no one has a problem with the way Jason has been thus far. Why does he all of a sudden have to like take it to that next level? I
He's
just
pissed
don't.
off.
I just don't see it.
Now this film here basically is the Voorhees versus the Jarvises, right? It's almost like an old type of Western type of story. So you definitely want to go and check this out. Get your fill of Jason in when it comes out.
Or like the TV show Fear Thy Neighbor on the ID channel.
I don't know.
I swear.
But the first part is on YouTube, so you can go and watch that. Then there's the other films that are available on YouTube as well, so you can definitely go check that out. Jason Brooks is, as you mentioned, behind the mask again. He kind of gives me Kane Hodder feels in a lot of his actions and his motions in the film, so it's great to see him behind the mask again and not having somebody new in there. But the campaign is pretty awesome too. They have some cool perks out there, and they're fairly affordable. So even if you want some merchandise and signed by some cool people, you may want to go check that out and contribute to it.
Yeah. And as always, like, subscribe, and share.
Yes. And until the next. See ya.
See ya.